The year was 1978 when I started collecting cacti, and I walked into a nursery and they were closing down, and they had about 13-14 pots, and I got them for a cheap price, and that was the start of my cacti passion. And since then I've been traveling all over the world. Cacti are plants of North and South America endemically, and therefore you don't find them in Pakistan. Except now worldwide there is a cacti culture where plants are grown by seed in greenhouses virtually in every country of the world. In Pakistan also there is a very large number of enthusiasts who keep cacti and succulent plants, and they grow them from branching and from seedlings. So yes, it's a very interesting hobby, and I've found a lot of enjoyment. This is where you're seeing me today is my residence in DHA Karachi, and this is the roof where the entire roof is covered with my plants and my collection. People say that it's the largest collection in Pakistan. I hope so. It's taken a lot of effort to reach this point. But yes, it's all on the roof. I get a lot of sunlight here, which the cacti plants need. And my children are protected from the plants, and the plants are protected from the children. Why cacti is a question that I'm often asked. I find it difficult to answer, because why do you like paintings? Why do people like gardening? Why do people like music? Something in it that attracts me. I think it's one of God's creations, and when you start collecting cacti, you realize that there is a world of cacti that's quite amazing and unknown to most people that don't know cacti enough. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Yes, cacti and succulent plants, they are threatened in their original areas where they grow naturally. Many of them are threatened. In fact, there is a law which is called the CITES regulation, which is a regulation that prevents or stops you from picking up plants from the natural areas where they're grown. So CITES is very strongly practiced in the Western world, and you cannot transport plants from one country to another without a CITES certification. But today, you know, cacti hobby has developed so much that all over the world there are people who are growing them from seeds. Seeds are also collected from their own plants. In fact, my collection here gives me a lot of seeds, and we will try and show you some seedlings that we have and how we grow them. So now it's already, I think there's not much worry about the endangered areas, except even now there is poaching happening. There's no denying that fact. But more and more plants are available from greenhouses and nurseries that specialize in cacti. So it's not a huge worry anymore. Well, cacti are plants that grow in arid areas. People think they grow in deserts. That's not true, because nothing grows in deserts. Deserts have no rainfall at all, and the only thing they have is a lot of sand. These are plants of arid areas, which means low rainfall areas where there is vegetation, and cacti grow in such areas. As I said earlier, they are plants originally of North and South America, but there is a parallel botanical evolution. Euphorbia is another family which is available in Africa and Asia. They are also water hardy plants requiring less water. And then there are succulents, which are not cacti, but they have this special metabolism that allows them to live with very little water. And these are available, a lot of them are available in Africa and some in Asia as well. So the ideal conditions for growing cacti and succulents, I mean, let's start with the soil. The soil must be very porous, because cacti don't have a very strong root system and they don't want waterlogging. So when you water a cacti, the soil should allow the water to flow through and just be moist enough, and should be able to dry out in about a week's time. Of course, that would depend on the weather. The other thing that the soil does is provides food for the cacti. They don't need a lot of nitrogen, so there is very little compost added. In many parts of the world, including my collection here, we have moved away from soil culture to soilless culture, in the sense that we use mediums like pumice stone, cocoa peat and perlite, and some granite chips, some silica sand. All of these are mineral based elements, and the cacti seem to grow very well in them. The next important aspect is light. Now, cacti are not indoor plants. They need a lot of strong light. They can grow well enough next to a windowsill where you get bright light, and a lot of people do grow them indoors that way. And the third very important element is watering. Now, watering a cacti, most people kill cacti by overwatering. The simple formula is water only when the soil is dry. And typically in Karachi in the summers, in a small pot which you watered thoroughly to start with, the soil would dry out in about a week's time in summer, and maybe 2 to 3 weeks in winter. And that would be your watering regime. You water every week in summers and maybe 2 to 3 weeks in winters. But the basic rule is water only when the soil is dry. In most areas of Pakistan, in the major cities like Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, the weather is almost ideal for growing cacti and succulents. Unlike the countries of the north, where the temperatures go below zero, they need greenhouses, they need heating in winter to keep the cacti growing. We don't need any of that. I mean, if you've seen this collection here, it's out in the open. I've got a polycarbonate roof on top to cut out the very strong UV light that does come through. And if you've taken care of all of these basic requirements, which is soil, water and light, you should be able to grow cacti very well. Well, for a beginner who wants cacti collection, I would suggest today to read up on cacti, and the net is full of information today. And the major advice would be to underwater cacti, because you kill a cacti by overloving them, by overwatering them. So keeping water low at any point is better, because even if you don't water cacti for a whole month, it will not die. It will shrivel a little, but that's nature. It's designed to live through long periods of lack of water. So watering is the most important element, and of course light. Soil I've already explained, but go out and see people who grow cacti, how they do it, and learn from them. You get to meet nice people. I always believe people who collect cacti are good human beings. Yes, I'm quite often asked where cacti are available in Pakistan. Interesting question, because everybody who wants to take up this hobby would like to know where they're available. And like so many things in the world today, the net is a good source for finding out where cacti are available in Pakistan. In Pakistan, we also have a cactus and succulent society, and we have a WhatsApp group. So people who are interested in joining the society, they could get in touch with me on my cell, which is 0333 2161 391. But apart from that, we have been growing cacti from seeds for some time now, and we are able to sell a lot of plants. I have a Facebook page called American Cacti, and you could access that and get some idea. Our website is almost ready for launching, and I expect within the next few weeks or a month we should have the website ready and launched. And there you should be able to find very interesting cacti for purchasing. I would recommend people take up this hobby because it's ideal for Karachi in the sense that we are running so short of water, and this is one hobby that requires very little water. And I don't know whether Ali has been able to take photographs. It's not the peak flowering time, but flowers are starting to come, and amazing flowers. They are a bonus. As far as I'm concerned, the beauty of a cacti is in its geometry and the way it grows, but flowers are amazing. I mean, if you see cacti flowers, you will not believe that this could be a flower coming out of a thorny plant. So, good hobby to take up. Introduce them to your children, because children today are living in a virtual world. They need to be made part of nature. So I think it's a good way of starting them off in that direction.